So you guys talked in a couple places about partnership and the spirit of working together and pulling in the same direction between a seeder and the founder, the firm. I guess in terms of we've all gone through processes of putting transactions together where coming out on the other side, the relationship already is under a bit of strain. And, in terms of avoiding that, other than potentially keeping the lawyers out of it to the greatest extent possible, what have you seen that works well to make sure that spirit of partnership is something that is consistent throughout even the deal making and execution process, so that you don't start after the deal is closed, the initial closing happens, et cetera, you don't start with some less than wonderful feelings?
Yeah. So for us, we, at the very start of the relationship, try to put ourselves on the same side of the table as the founder, so that every decision made along the way, they feel empowered by, that it's their decision as well. What we don't want to have happen is consummate the deal, 2 years later something goes left, and they look to us like, oh, Stable told them to do that. We can give advice, we can guide, but we want to empower them to make their own decisions that are right for their firm. So from the very early onset, we're really trying to be on the same side of the table and say, listen, we're doing this together. This is a team effort here. And then more often than not, when something does go haywire, we're the first port of call. They say, hey, help us through this, as opposed to trying to put a blanket over it and cover things up and fix things on their own. So it ends up being a much more collegial relationship, as opposed to a combative one. This is not a deal structure for us. It's really a marriage.
Yeah. So for us, we try to mitigate that as much as we can on the front end, and I'll get to how in a second. But it's really hard, right? Because you can. This is not a perfect example, but you can interview somebody many times, hire them, and until you kind of get under the hood and start working with them, you don't really know how they're going to react in certain situations. So you're making a bet in some sense, but one lesson we've learned is to try to stick to doing this with people we've already done a lot of stuff with. So it could be the guy was at a bigger shop that we've done a lot of deals with, and we've done 10 co-investments with them, and he wants to go out on his own. It could be fundless sponsors that bring us interesting deals, haven't been able to raise a fund, and we've experienced 7 or 8 of these, and it's been 4 years, and now we like the team and we're ready to support them in that way. And even there, it's not perfect, right? Are you seating one person, multiple people? What's their relationship like? How is that going to change, right? So it's not an easy sort of endeavor, but that's how we try to mitigate it.
Yeah.